Never fear, the Baseball Insiders is here. We love going live. We've really enjoyed the chat during the show, however long we've been doing that now. But for some reason, our streaming service is crushing us today. So we're doing old school Zoom. And as you see, this will be uploaded, which you're watching right now. And we have all your questions. And we have my guy who actually had the issues today. And it wasn't me. Bert, do you feel guilty that we are not in our normal Baseball Insiders Thursday at 2 formation?
I feel terrible. And there's a very good shot that once we're done recording this, Carm, that I'm going to probably go cry and like sit in the fetal position. So yeah, I'm going to do the same. No, there's no doubt. All right, but we're okay. Here we go. And we're back Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hit that subscribe button for the Baseball Insiders. Follow by Robert Murray on Twitter and yours truly at the Carm. The Willson Contreras market we will discuss today, along with the starting pitching market. Some underrated options. I like particularly one of them. And the red hot Baltimore Orioles, who are in Chicago this week. I'm going to see the Orioles tomorrow night at Wrigley Field. Going to throw some love that way. Also, which stars are unlikely to be moved? We'll get to that. And Bert is headed to the All-Star game. So a lot to do here. But I guess let's start with Contreras. We've been talking about this for a long time. One of the biggest names out there, All-Star this year, having a great season. What's the latest, Robert? Yeah, I'm still thinking that he will be traded, Carm. There seems to be like a belief that's going to happen at some point. It's a little strange that they haven't tried to trade him in the past. I will say I saw John Heyman make that point pretty recently, and I thought that was like kind of interesting. But I think he'll end up going. And the teams that I think we'll have to watch out for are the Mets, the Padres, the Astros, I think are another team that makes sense. I think the Rays make sense. I've said the Giants in the past, but I just don't know if they're in the position now where they can do that kind of a thing because they're really struggling right now, Carm. And they're an older club, and I don't think they have much, if any, of a chance to make the World Series. So I don't know if it makes sense adding an older catcher on an expiring contract. I'd imagine they'll be in at like some certain price point, but they just won't go over the top for like kind of like what they did last year for Chris Bryant.
Interesting. The Astros is a very interesting name. I'm trying to follow up with some sources on that one to see if inside the organization that's a possibility. So hopefully I'll have some answer coming on back here. But have you heard that, or is that just Bert speculation?
That's just Bert speculation, but the Astros need a catcher. And I think that's going to end up being one of their top priorities at the deadline is getting another catcher. But they really like what Martin Maldonado does behind the plate too, especially defensively, because he's a defensive first catcher. But they can do a lot of what the Cubs have done with Contreras is they have a veteran catcher in Yan Gomes, who they have there. And his presence allows Contreras to stay fresh. And I mean, you can have that same kind of thing with Maldonado. So I wouldn't rule it out. I think it makes a whole lot of sense, but I don't think they're going to end up going nuts, and trying to like blow them away with a package. They're going to have to do something that makes sense for both sides here.
Right. How well do you know their system? I mean, I'm sure there's something that would match up, but anything pop to mind?
No, I don't have an in-depth knowledge on the Astros farm system, but okay. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, we'll see if I get anything back on that one as well. And Bert, you did put out on the old Twitter world that yes, you can tweet me your trade deadline questions. Our guy at MT_050, Michael, thank you, buddy. We love you. What's an under the radar trade deadline candidate, Bert? Give me something under the radar, brother.
Does Carlos Rodon fall under the radar?
I think it does. You see his wife is out there tweeting that like the dude's got Carlos Rodon has the highest WAR in all of baseball. Is that right? That's crazy.
Maybe among pitchers, but but anyways, it's still, that's nuts. And like, good news though is he's now part of the All-Star game, so he'll be there in Los Angeles. But yeah, I think he's going to end up being a guy who's going to end up garnering quite a bit of interest considering the position that the Giants are in. They're underperforming right now. As I said before, I just don't know if they're going to end up being in a position to make a deep postseason run. And he has the ability to opt out of his contract after this season should he pitch like a little less than 20 innings remaining for the rest of the year. And by all indications, he'll do that unless he gets hurt. And if he does do that, and there's probably a decent shot that he opts out so he can get that big payday. And it would be smart for the Giants front office to make a move and trade him and get a big prospect haul in return, just so they can like maximize his value rather than let him go as a free agent. If he opts out, I should say.
Yeah, I would be in the buyer beware market on that one. Rodon making it to the end of the season healthy would be basically unprecedented for Carlos Rodon. So I like your thought process here, though. I think that the Giants being aggressive there makes a whole lot of sense. Speaking of, by the way, you wanted to talk about the starting pitching market right now. What's moving around?
Yeah, so it's extremely interesting because you have Frankie Montas, who is currently hurt. He's throwing a bullpen session on Wednesday, and he's expected, at least on the A's side, to make a start against the Astros. So if he performs and is all good there, I think he'll end up being the top trade candidate for pitchers at the deadline. I think it all depends on his health. If he's healthy, he's going to get traded. I think one name to monitor might be Noah Syndergaard. He signed to a 1-year deal. The Angels are struggling, and that could end up being a case where they try to like get some value there for him and let him go. And I've had some people, like rival executives, I should say, think that he gets traded. So that's going to end up being one to watch. But the starting pitching market to me is going to be pretty active. I think that's going to end up being the most active position along with relief pitching, which I mean, that's the case every year. But yeah, I think Syndergaard is going to end up being the one to watch. And there's a lot of under the radar kind of guys that we're going to get into in a little bit that are going to end up garnering quite a bit of interest as well.
So we'll do that next, but and this is kind of under the radar, but like as we're recording the show right now, the Guardians just beat the White Sox 4-1. Kenny Williams, White Sox VP, had a meeting with the team and the coaching staff and called out everyone saying, come together. Bob Nightingale had this report, put your differences aside. And now the White Sox have shown up in Cleveland and have played dead in back-to-back games. I don't know, man. I could see something to shake that clubhouse up, and also the reality of what that season is. Like a guy like Lance Lynn, perhaps, getting moves. Something I don't think they'd go so bold as to trade Lucas Giolito, or even become sellers, but the way the White Sox are going right now, being a seller is going to be on the table if they don't turn it around here. And they are in a huge stretch where they've already dropped 2 or 3 to Minnesota. They've lost the first 2 to the Guardians. They've split with the Tigers at home. It ain't good over there right now. So who knows if some trade candidates under the radar, however you want to put it, with the White Sox emerge.
Yeah, it's pretty damning to hear you finally be on the White Sox potentially a seller's train, because you were pretty against that for a while there, Carm. And,
I did not see this coming. I was a buyer all the way, but listen, I mean, the last 5 days when you're having, I mean, their general manager is Rick Hahn. If people are not completely dialed up on the White Sox, Kenny used to be their GM. He was kicked upstairs. For him to call a meeting and do that is very telling of how bad it has gotten there. And Ozzie Guillen last night was calling out their dugout for looking like they were dead, saying that they don't even look like they're trying. So when your former World Series manager is going down that road, it ain't good.
To me, Carm,
yeah,
you can shake up that clubhouse by making a trade. You can do anything with the roster. I don't think anything changes until you fire Tony La Russa. That's, to me, I think obviously the roster is underperformed, but they need a new guy at manager to me. And I've been pretty convinced of that even since they hired La Russa. I was 1,000,000,000% against it. I was one of many people in that train. But to me, the White Sox, unless something drastic changes, which at this point we're 82 games into the year. So like what we're seeing is what we get at this point. So I don't see a change happening. I just think they need a new voice at the helm. That's what I think.
Listen, I'm not going to argue it anymore. I wrote when they hired La Russa that this was going to work out despite the naysayers like you, Robert Murray. There's no way that 77-year-old Tony La Russa had forgotten baseball. This is not rocket science. He can do it. And they made the playoffs last year, got beat by a better Astros team. But this is a massive underachievement. And if you're having that level of meeting, a lot easier to fire the manager than make bold trades with some of your young core who aren't going anywhere. So at this point, change for change's sake might make a whole lot of sense with the White Sox. However, Jerry Reinsdorf, owner, and Tony are very good friends, and Reinsdorf had a huge, the reason why Tony has that job is because Reinsdorf regrets firing him back in 1984, I want to say, 84, 85, whatever it was, mid-80s, when Ken Hawk Harrelson recommended it. So I don't know if they'll be as bold to do it, but
yeah, and also
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking along those same lines. Is Reinsdorf, his guy is Tony La Russa. It's going to be difficult for him to fire La Russa, let alone 2 years after hiring him, or even less than 2 years. I can't imagine they're going to make a change in season. So let's say 2 years. I wonder if the scapegoat then would end up being Rick Hahn, and I think that would be a mistake.
They won't do that.
You don't think so?
I would be beyond shocked.
Yeah, and so like for the record, so would I. But like for a season to go this poorly with this high of expectations, there's going to have to be a scapegoat, and I don't know who it's going to be. As Carm said, I can't picture it being Rick Hahn. Can't picture it being Tony La Russa. I mean, I would do it if I was the White Sox, but then who would it be?
Oh, they could listen. There's a lot of things they could do. The number one most exciting thing that they could possibly do to ramp up that club, and I might actually write this because I'm getting excited thinking about it. When they fired Rick Renteria, yep, and they announced that we're starting our search, they went out of their way and they actually made an announcement. Ozzie Guillen is not a candidate for this position. You want to try to shake this thing up? Ozzie is the hire. It's incredible to me that the guy made some comment about Fidel Castro when he was managing the Miami Marlins decades ago now and has not gotten another chance. The dude won a World Series, and the White Sox would not have won it without Ozzie. That team was failing down the stretch in September, and Guillen took on all the heat. They went from, I think, a 13-game lead down to a game and a half. All the pressure was on Ozzie, took it off the players, and then they go in the postseason, go 11-1, and win the World Series.
Yep.
So that would be that'd be an unbelievable move.
I'll tell you. So I mean, La Russa's what, 77? You said?
Yes.
So Guillen is only 58. He's still pretty close with the White Sox. He works for NBC Sports Chicago.
He watches them every night.
Every night. Knows it. I'll tell you, I don't think you could go from a more different personality from La Russa than to Guillen. Maybe you can, but Guillen's a pretty fired up dude. He kind of terrifies me. Dude, I mean that in a good way.
Well, covering him was the greatest. Greatest. I'll tell you one story. I can't really tell that story. It's a little too aggressive, but I'll make it the PG version. Was they're playing the Yankees, and this is after he's done his media session, so he's just kind of hanging out in the dugout. Most managers are out of there. Ozzie would just shoot the shit with reporters, and so Derek Jeter comes walking across, and Ozzie yells something at him. He's friends with all of them because the batting cages were up behind the White Sox dugout. So he yells something at Jeter, and then Jeter goes in, and he's like, this guy's incredible. New York, you never hear him in trouble. single guy, winning all the World Series, making all the money. I don't have a daughter, but if I did, I would tell her to date him. And it was just so funny. But that, he just seeing the relation that he had with the players, just a fun dude. Outside of all the leadership, there's a lot that comes with him. He gets a lot of attention, but I love Ozzie. Anyway, all right. So here we go. Let's keep going through. We have a zillion questions on Twitter, so maybe we'll do the questions that way going forward. Although we want you listening, so probably doesn't make sense. Production show on the fly here, but all right, let's do some underrated starting pitching options. I know you've got Zach Davies on there. I know you've got Jose Quintana. Who else, Bert? Who else?
Yeah, so I got Davies. I don't know how strong of a market that he's going to have, only because he's got the reports about him ghosting his wife is not great. I know that's kind of like it's been hanging over his head the entire year. He's a veteran pitcher, so maybe he gets interest. But the two guys I'm going to mention here, Jose Quintana he already has a strong market. He's got interest from a bunch of different teams, veteran left-hander, and he's got the versatility card. So he can be a starting pitcher, back end of the rotation kind of guy. Or he can pitch out of the bullpen like he did last year with the Giants and the Angels. And he's not going to cost too much. I think a deal similar to what the Pirates did last year for Tyler Anderson, that's the kind of comp that I've heard from people behind the scenes could make sense. And then another one would be Chad Kuhl, pitcher for the Rockies. He's another guy that's going to get interest, but from what I'm told, he's one of the rare pitchers who actually likes playing in Colorado. And I think that could end up factoring into their decision-making. I still think there's a better chance than not that he is traded. But the fact that he likes playing at Coors and has had a good season, I think there is a shot that he's kept by the Rockies. But as I said, I think he's traded. But between those three, I think Quintana and Chad Kuhl are going to be the guys to watch.
Interesting. And to follow up from an earlier conversation about Contreras, I guess I can talk about this because he's just guessing. He doesn't know anything. But Robert Ford, who's been on this show, who's the play-by-play voice for the Astros radio, I asked him, do you think that the Astros could possibly be interested in Contreras? And he's like, I think that's possible. Maldonado, as we just said, great defender, can hit. Jason Castro's on the injured list, but shouldn't be out too long. Astros would probably have to give up catcher Corey Lee, first-round pick who made his major league debut last week.
That's a good call by him because I remember him getting called up, and obviously they had a need at catcher, but I also wondered if they're trying to showcase him at the major league level. So, once again, Robert Ford is a very wise man.
I'm going to text him back and tell him that I love Contreras. Because I do.
Karma's in love with Willson Contreras. Sources tell Fansided.
Dude, that dude's a winner, man. He is a competitive, feisty. You want that guy on your team all day long. Yep. All right, let's salute the Baltimore Orioles playing their best baseball in I don't know how long.
Unbelievable.
Do we really look at Baltimore as a legit wild card player in your mind, Bert?
To me, no, not yet, but they're building an argument for that position because they're on a winning streak right now. They're like
8 in a row, baby. 500.
They're inching closer to the Toronto Blue Jays and others in that division for the third spot as well. It's like
they're 2 back.
Yeah, like if you would have told me they were 2 back at this point of the season, I would have told you to turn off the video game set. That's exactly what I would have told you. And yet here they are in real life going on this surge. And I think there's a very convincing argument for them to be both buyers and sellers. I know Ken Rosenthal has written about that before. And I think the exact same thing is the thing to me is their most likely trade candidate in that scenario would be Trey Mancini. And I think if you trade him, you're messing with the juju in that clubhouse because he is like the guy. And like, he's the leader. He's a prominent part of that clubhouse. You trade him and the season could go sideways. Another player I think could make sense in the market is a guy like Jordan Lyles for a team that is needing an innings eater. The Brewers have loved him in the past. They've acquired him twice, and he's been great in a postseason race. And also something that I remember Lyles telling me when I was around him was that he really likes working with a veteran catcher. So a contending team who has a veteran catcher that needs another pitcher, acquiring Lyles could end up being a nice buy low kind of situation. I can't imagine he's going to garner too much via trade. But any hopes that teams had of them moving like Anthony Santander or Cedric Mullins, I think that dream is just about dead at this point.
All right. Hey, Baltimore, you are motivating for all of us who are trying to climb uphill. And in any place in your life, just look at the Orioles in that division. 8 wins in a row, count it out. And now 2 back in the wild card, only 1 under. All right, let's look at the stars here, Bert. I'm thinking maybe we won't even touch on all the tweets and you can just respond to all these people because they love you on Twitter so much, Bert. What do you think of that idea? Or do you want to get some in here?
Let's get some in here, then I can respond to some on Twitter.
Okay, great. So let's talk about stars likely or unlikely, rather, to be moved. So who do you think is possible? Who do you think is completely untouchable?
Hang on. I got to respond to a text real quick.
Oh, wow. Exciting.
Yeah, we might have a trade.
Is this deadline related?
Yeah.
All right, Bert, in the moment. Now, he's probably not going to tell us anything, which is going to suck. But I will do my very best to push him to give us some level of insight. The life of Robert. What do we think what would be Robert's middle name? He sort of looks like an Andrew. Robert Andrew. Close. Andy. Not Andy, not Andrew, but close. What's close to Andrew? Let's see here. Peanut Gallery. Michael Sean. Guesses from the deep. I don't know. Octavio.
No. Boy, it starts with an A. I'll give you that.
Starts with an A. From where you're coming from. Al?
You're on fire.
Yeah?
You're on fire.
Robert Al Murray, the 5th?
No, I'm 1 of 1.
Okay. But Ram comes through. I'm very proud of myself. All right, what do you got? What's happening over there, Bert? Clue us in. What can you tell us?
I won't say anything quite yet, just because I don't know if it's legit or not. But yeah, I want to cushion myself on that one. But as far as stars that I think are going to be moved, Carm.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know if you can consider these 2 stars, but they're good players. Josh Bell, I think is going to be good as gone. Nelson Cruz, I think, is gone. I think Noah Syndergaard is going to end up being traded. Frankie Montas, if he's healthy, is going to be gone. I think those are some of the more prominent names that we're going to see going. And perhaps there is a surprise that is traded. But here's the thing is we have over 20 teams who are in contention. And there are some that are still not sure if they're going to sell or buy. And it could lead to a pretty slow market until closer to August 2nd, which that could mean a flurry of moves and maybe some surprise move at August 2nd. But I don't think this is going to be a star-filled market. That's truthfully what I think.
So just a reminder, on trade deadline August 2, we will do a post-game, if you will, deadline show. I think we're shooting for 6 o'clock Central Time. Or did we say 5? What did we say?
5.
5 o'clock Central after the deadline on August the 2nd. We'll, of course, remind you leading up to it, but that's the first time it's been said on this podcast. So there you go. 5 o'clock the 2nd, a little bonus show.
And I can tell you what I heard was not true. So I already got a denial. But actually, you want to hear a fun story about how I got scooped the other day?
Sure.
So I was chilling here. I was getting ready to go work out. I was eating my bowl of Cheerios in the morning.
That's not a good start for your day. Way too many carbs, not enough protein. Don't like you going Cheerios, but go ahead.
Oh, I also had a protein shake. So I was getting my protein. But I'm a big carb guy, Carm. Love carbs.
Okay. So do I.
So, attaboy. So he's drinking a Starbucks too. But I was eating my Cheerios, and all of a sudden I got a text saying, "Hey, don't know who's in it, but Atlanta and Kansas City's making a trade." And I like, oh, okay. So I start shooting some texts. I get an immediate response of yes. So it's true. I'm trying to figure out who the players are. I've nailed down 2 of them. This is at 7:53 my time. And I'm like slow. I'm waiting for the confirmation text that these players are in it. And all of a sudden I get the tweet notification from Jeff Passan. Atlanta and Kansas City is finalizing a trade. So he got it from right out under me. There's been 2 trades so far, Carm. I've had them both before they got reported. And yet I got scooped on both. So I lead the league in getting scooped. So we got to change the juju.
No, we're good. Juju is going in the right direction. But let me ask you something. So yeah, when you get that information, is this like, have you ever seen the movie All the President's Men? I'm assuming not.
I have. Yeah, because you told me to watch it.
And you watched it?
I did watch it. Yeah, it took me like 2 weeks to watch it, but I finally did.
And you never reported back to me that you watched it? What kind of friendship do we have here?
No comment.
Okay. That hurts, Bert. That's painful. But so then Deep Throat from the garage scenes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is this like you have like a deep throat out there who's like, he'll tell you stuff, but he's not going to give you the full information and you have to figure it out yourself? Like, does this person know but won't say and just sort of gives you a breadcrumb, or do they not know and they're trying to have you figure it out?
That's a good question. He's giving me, I can't get into who my source is on that or any source, but yeah, he's very helpful. So if he had the details, I'm pretty positive he would give them to me.
Okay, fair enough. Well, congrats to Jeff Passan, who again is Jeff Passan. I am going to put out a video, which you need to retweet and see what's going to come back at us from Jeff Passan about his cooking skills, which I believe are terrible, but apparently are not.
Hey, Passan I'm going to see Passan in a few days. So when that video goes out, there's a chance that he's like, oh boy, that could create some. We need to get him on the pod, Carm. That's what I got to say about that.
So should we wait to tweet it until you're actually with him, and then you'll tell me to tweet it at that moment, and then you could show it to him, or how do we want to play this, Bert? Because
maybe we tweet it now, so that'll be a good conversation starter for when I see him at the All-Star game. Okay.
We'll see what happens. Hey, you're going to the All-Star game and you're expecting that trade talks are going to pick up there. Is that why you're headed to LA?
Yeah, I'm heading there to network because there's going to be a lot of sources and like people that I know in the game there. It'll be good to like catch them face to face and like talk. And it's also like, it's a very good place of like building relationships, but also getting information because you can actually like see them face to face and you can empty your notebook and they can empty theirs. And so I'm expecting once we end up getting back here and we're back to a live episode, we are going to be dropping a absolute ton of info because that to me is when we're going to have like a pretty good idea of what teams are thinking of what and who might be on the move. So get the notebooks and get the old popcorn ready.
Get your popcorn ready. That's one of your favorites. All right. So I'm going to have you pick, Bert, because I don't know what you want to respond to. Why don't you go through the questions and shout some people out and give your answers? Is that cool?
Yeah, let's do it.
And maybe I'll pick out one for myself, but you should start.
So, okay. So this one's from Manny Hilbrun. With Taylor Rogers' struggles, will the Padres be in the market for a closer? I can tell you they will be in the market for a veteran reliever. I have that on very good authority from rival teams who have said the Padres are already starting to look on that market. So that is going to be something I see there, or see them doing, I should say. Let's see, from Carter Johnson. He asked, is Josh Hader a popular name at the trade deadline once again? I will be flat out absolutely stunned if Josh Hader is traded. I checked in with a couple of people after Bob Nightingale reported that the Brewers were listening on Hader. And yes, they do listen on Hader. They listen on all of their players. I was told it would be the stunner of all stunners if he's traded. So I fully expect him to end this year with the Brewers. Maybe they explore a trade in the offseason. But we're in year 3 now of Hader trade rumors. And I think the odds of a trade happening now are lesser than they were last year.
Interesting. I've always like, why would you trade that dude? He's a freaking dynamic talent outside of money. But let's see. There's a ton in here. You got any more that you like?
Yeah, let's do. Oh, I gotta sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you. That was a good one. I had cleaned out the old schnoot.
Do you know how unique of an individual you are?
Am I unique, Carm?
I've never been on any pod where someone sneezed like that and then immediately went into clean out the old schnoot. No one's ever said that in podcast history.
Well, that's false, Carm, because I just did. So numero uno, right?
No, right. Other than you, I, Mike, Sean, if you can just verify how that I'm correct here. Am I? Now we get a little. You're just adorable, dude.
Thank you. I got a yes, very cute from Mike Zach.
There we go.
What a guy over there.
There we go. I mean, this is something. All right. What else we got here that you like?
Let's see. We got most realistic or most likely trade suitors for Josh Bell. I mentioned the Astros in a previous show. I don't think they're going to be in a high or like one of the top suitors just because they have Yuli Gurriel there. But I would expect them to at least check in. I think the Mets make a whole lot of sense there too. Yeah, peculiar is a good word from Sean Daly. I'll take that too. But yeah, we got. I fully expect the Mets to add a big bat. They're gonna add somebody. I actually thought before the Red Sox went on this surge that JD Martinez was a great fit for them, and that is not going to happen just because the Red Sox aren't going to sell.
All right, I want you to answer at obviously a burner. So this perhaps is not a real person, but it says John. I like his question though. Any updates on the Rays? Everybody wants to know about the Rays. And then he goes non-baseball. Would you rather be on a lake or in the mountains?
Oh man, that's a great question.
Isn't it?
I would rather. I'm a sucker for mountains, so give me the mountains. But lake is also like extremely good. So you can't go wrong with it. But give me the mountains just because I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
But the Rays are another fit for Willson Contreras. I think that team, they make a whole lot of sense there. They also need a big bat too, and I mean that would be 2 birds with 1 stone. But
that makes
I think they're going to be in the market for both of those positions for sure.
And plus, for the Rays, you're getting a premium player for not premium dollars. Not bad. I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I saw that and I was just like, well, I don't know what we do with that.
That's aggressive. That was his question. As in, do you like my face? I'm assuming.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to just run through these real quick.
Yeah, sure.
So, are the Dodgers going to do something? Yes, they are going to do something. They need a bat, which is kind of surprising considering all the talent they have on the team. They could also use another starting pitcher. They're going to get at least one of those, if not both. But they're not going to be stupid about it. I think they're less likely to trade from their top prospect well than they have been in years past, which could kind of limit the overall talent they bring in. It also helps that there's not going to be like that much of a high-end talent brought in. But I know there's some people who have been connecting them Luis Castillo behind the scenes. So maybe that'll be one name that they're in on. Let's see. A lot of Brewers questions. There's one person, actually, I've gotten probably about 10 tweets today asking me to come over back to the Athletic to cover the Brewers. Because Will Salmon, their writer, ended up going to cover the Mets for the Athletic. And I want to give a shout out to Will. Will is phenomenal at what he does, and he is a great friend. And yeah, I'm just completely happy for him. But I will also tell you, like, I'm very happy at Fansided. So sorry to crush your dreams, but I will not be going back to cover the Brewers. Let's see. We have realistic trade targets for the Blue Jays. Left-handed bat for sure. I think Ian Happ makes a whole lot of sense. I know they've been connected to Andrew Benintendi. I had somebody kind of like, I don't want to say squash it, but say that's probably unlikely at this point that Benintendi will go to Toronto. Things can always change because we're 20 days away, but that's where my person said they're at now. Let's see. Who do you think the Yankees will acquire, Carm? So
interesting.
I think they need to go all in.
Yeah, but what's their biggest need?
They could use another leverage reliever.
Along with everyone. Keep going. Yeah.
Maybe another starting pitcher too. Like another bat would make sense, but I think leverage reliever might be their biggest one. But like, they're the most talented team in baseball, so their needs are pretty limited at this point. But I think a high leverage reliever is going to make sense. Maybe I'm trying to think of who some of the better names are. I mean, you got Robertson with the Cubs, you got Gibbons. There's so many different names that they can consider.
I wouldn't call David Robertson a high leverage reliever at this point. I would call him perhaps an upgrade to your 6th and 7th inning options. He's scratching his way through the 9th inning. It's not pretty. He's getting the job done, but that dude is old and the body's breaking down. The Cubs are not going to get a whole lot for David Robertson, I wouldn't think. What else?
Boy, you were cutting out there, Carm. Is it my audio?
I think so.
Okay, cool. I'm glad it wasn't my end then. So we can blame Carm for this one.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Loud and clear.
I was just saying, any other tweets you want to read, or should we wrap it right here unfortunately after my technical difficulties?
Yeah. Let's see. Going through them now.
And we appreciate all the tweets. We appreciate. Sorry again that this one wasn't live, but hey, future is bright, baby.
Yeah, I think we're good, Carm.
All right. Hey, the Baseball Insiders every Tuesday and Thursday at 2:00 Central Time. Having a ton of fun doing it for you, with you, all of it. And hit that subscribe channel on the YouTube page. We are slowly creeping our way here. 400 the next stop, on our way to 400 million, damn it. So thank you for the support. And Bert, you take care of that schnoot.
Always, you gotta take care of the old schnoot, especially since it's all cleaned out now. We're operating and we're thriving over here, Carm.
Yeah, they're always and forever. Hey, right. Darn tootin', down schnootin'. That's terrible.
Darn snootin'. Yeah,
darn snootin'. Yeah.
That's gonna enter the old Rolodex for sure.
That's embarrassing. All right, thanks for watching. Appreciate all the tweets. Bert, appreciate you. Thank you, Michael Zach. Thank you, Sean Daly. The Baseball Insiders, from our heart, saying goodbye on this Thursday. We'll see you next week.
Love you all. Love you, Carm.